Realcomm, and I am here with Michael Sherwood, Chief Innovation Officer for the City of Las Vegas. Mike, I am so grateful for all of your support for the conference, for being here with us, being an advisor, helping us connect with some insane innovation going on here in Las Vegas. Thank you. There's a great presentation this morning. I can't thank you enough. Let's just start. Give us a little bit about your background and how you got here.
Sure. So I have a pretty diverse background, actually. I've been in Las Vegas for 7 years. Prior to being here in Las Vegas, I was the Deputy Director of Public Safety for the City of Irvine. So I was born and raised in California, did a law enforcement little stint there, but I've also worked in advertising, as well as power generation and some other municipal cities. So I've had this kind of diverse experience, but it's really that diverse experience is what helps me be more of, I think, a thought leader, an innovator, more willing to accept risk as long as it's calculated. And so what drew me here to Las Vegas is that the whole community here that is really accepting of new ideas, new concepts, not afraid to fail. You don't want to fail, but not afraid to try.
It feels to me like you connected with Las Vegas at that inflection point where the opportunity was meeting the desire to innovate, and you just happened to be there at the right time to connect with all of this.
It was the right time in the kind of the universe. I mean, if you remember, it was how do you get the Amazon headquarters to your city?
Right.
How do you win the Smart City Challenge? And so those type of things were coming up, and it was Las Vegas's need we want to be part of that competition. We want to be considered to be a great business place, not just a great entertainment destination. And I would have to say entertainment, sports, culinary now. We have a wide variety, but that's hospitality. How do we become just as relevant in technology? How do we become as relevant in autonomous vehicles? Just making our community that kind of great place with great amenities that people want to move and live here and have a family.
5 years ago, when we were back here for our 20th anniversary, we were at the Cosmo, and I had connected with Don Jacobson?
Yeah,
Don Jacobson. Yeah, back then we talked a lot about what was going on. I got the feeling that Vegas was starting to wake up to innovation. They were willing to experiment kind of in a small way, but right now it seems like their appetite for innovation is just gargantuan.
We're a rocket ship now. We are just blasting through things, and it's such a great time. And really, the entire community and city embraces it. You have the MSG Sphere. The largest circular building in the world, 18,000 plus seating capacity, total immersion, every seat, high-speed internet. You talk about connectivity, immersion, and tech in the physical world. That's going to be a one-of-a-kind venue.
We've got organizations that are willing to take fairly large financial risks to be the first in something, to create that something that hasn't been created before, which is pretty amazing, especially, at a time where people are talking recession, we're starting to see, headwinds in a lot of ways. So let me just ask you about the city now, because I know there's a huge transformation going on. What is it about the DNA in the city of Las Vegas now that's enabling all of this innovation? How are you making it happen?
I have great leadership I work with, so I have a great mayor, great city council, but it's really the community. The community is very accepting of innovation, of change. What other city in the world do you know after a few years blows up a perfectly good building to build a better, newer building?
Every 20 years.
It kind of goes. We're talking about the Tropicana down here on the Strip being moved out so a new ballpark can be built. Not many cities do that kind of massive transformation, but it's not just that. We have F1, we're redoing the streets. You got the Sphere we talked about. We're boring under the city now to have a transportation.
All of these, these are massive
projects. Generally, a city would do one type of that project. We're doing 8 or 9 of those, and then we're leading and coming up with new ideas in a bunch of other areas as well. So it's an incredible time, but it's always been an incredible city.
So what are what are the projects that excite you most? And you mentioned, F1, huge undertaking. I remember I was on the committee for 300 in Long Beach when they first brought in F1 back in the 80s.
I remember that.
Working. Oh yeah, because you were in California.
I was in California. That was a big deal.
I lived in
Irvine. That wasn't far away.
Then. Yeah, and I remember that. But doing it here in Las Vegas, that's got to be. I can't imagine the complexity.
There's a lot of incredible projects. But I have to name a few. Obviously, autonomous driving. We have 7 companies here that are frontline, doing great work. I love to see the technology grow. I like to see how it's interacting. Las Vegas did launch the first autonomous vehicle in mixed flow traffic in 2017.
Yep. We actually demoed it in 2018.
Yes,
we brought
it was that full year. So autonomous driving in general and the technology behind that really excites me, and the way that cities are going to integrate the communications with those vehicles.
Absolutely.
That's exciting.
Did that help did that drive the 5G?
It did. So part of our investment in creating our own private 5G network was the ability to be able to move faster.
Yeah.
How do we come and people wonder, we do all these innovation projects, but part of that story is about economic development. How do we make Las Vegas more enticing and the amenities here for these companies to come and experiment? How do we take some of the regulations aside so they can come in a safe way, but get them to be here? The Boring Company is another, it's super exciting.
Yeah.
I just saw a map of the expansion and where it's going to go. It's going to be almost every single casino on the Strip. You'll be able to get on and off. And imagine when you talk about the technology's great, it's underground is great, the way they're boring it and the way they're creating all this. But when we think about sustainability, think of how many less cars will be on the surface streets. We won't have to expand our streets. So it's a showpiece for the world to come see this technology.
I'm still just amazed at the speed and scale at how they can deploy that. It blows my mind.
Well,
honestly,
you talked about it. Look at 5 years ago. Now think of today. I can go over the MSG Sphere, the Allegiant Stadium.
Yes.
You have the Circa Hotel downtown. You have an arts district that is bustling with new activity. Area 15.
Fremont Street
upgrades, and all the great things that are happening there. Just in 5 years, even with the pandemic that kind of put us to sleep for a little bit, still we're advancing and doing so many great things. And that's because we have a really great community and leadership from the state all the way down to the local level that make these things possible.
You get your hands on these huge projects. How big a staff do you have?
You would be amazed. The IT department itself is a little around 100 employees that manage the digital assets of the city. So we're not robust, but we're a great group of really people that are passionate, we're a resilient city. We come together when we need to and we get things done. And that's not just my team, that's the entire Southern Nevada ecosystem. Henderson, North Vegas, the county, the city, we all work together to make things happen. And that's kind of the Las Vegas methodology.
Now, are you always on the hunt for new potential technologies that you could bring to Vegas?
I'm like a little kid.
You're out there
of course,
shopping all the time?
Of course, I'm always looking for how can I make our community better?
Yeah.
How do I build amenities? Just like building owners and people that have assets, how do you make it better so people want to live or reside or have an office in a building? I look at that in a larger scale. How do I get people to want to call Las Vegas home? How do I get those creators, those inventors to come here? What kind of amenities can I build? And I really am a believer in everybody works in technology today. So how do I bring new ideas, new concepts that might help those people live a little better, and then they'll want to stay here?
Yeah. Do you keep your eye on Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Singapore, some of the stuff that they're doing out here with some of these crazy developments?
Hey, I watch everybody. You can learn from everyone, but I do. A lot of Asia, very impressive. I was just in Indonesia. They're building a smart city there called BSD. Amazing technology, amazing things that they're doing. Dubai, Saudi Arabia, they're all models. And they're on a scale that I'm jealous of. I'd love to have that kind of scale.
We used to put people on planes. We used to organize tours, take them to Asia. I think we did 8 countries, 32 cities. We took them to Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Got them inside some of these. This is years ago, about 15 years ago, just to wake the American commercial real estate development community up to what innovation looks like outside the U.S., and it was pretty dramatic.
It's dramatic. It still is dramatic.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to take to get some. I see the wheels turning. I see things starting to take hold. I think the pandemic has changed a lot of ways that we look at real estate now, and people are coming up with new ways to reinvent their buildings, provide better services. We talk about 5G and getting more of that coverage in buildings and in downtown areas. It's exciting, but it's great to be able to see what others are doing. And I encourage everybody, if you haven't had a chance to get out to Dubai and see some of this, you got to go see it, because you'll have a new perspective.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I'd like to think that we have it all here in the U.S., we really don't. We really have to get out and see the world.
You do. We have some great, look, I'm not going to put, we have some great things out there. But when you want to think of something that's starting from scratch, and where they had a fresh start, a green field, and you take that and you built what they built, and you see what technology works, and that whole region, very upfront on what's successful and what hasn't been as successful.
Right. I mean, because we're going to have to go to the next iteration here. I mean, when we refresh, we need to know about what they're doing so we can plan accordingly.
And I think if we want to be more efficient as a society, as an economy, we're going to have to lean on technology. I mean, you can go here in Las Vegas, we have robotic bartenders now. You have automated cleaning systems that clean the hotel rooms. You don't need a physical person anymore. So, and we have challenges here. Water and other types of things are going to be barriers that we're going to need to cross. And so, looking around the world, Dubai, all those areas, they have the same challenges. We got to learn from them, bring that tech here, embrace it, and move it forward.
I couldn't agree more. I just noticed we're out of time, but my final comment is Las Vegas is lucky to have you, man.
Well,
what you're bringing is phenomenal. I think game changer.
Well, thank you, and we thank all of your listeners to come out to Las Vegas. We're ready for you here. We got great things to do. Lots of events. Super Bowl we didn't even touch on.
There's so much we didn't touch on.
There is.
And I really want you to be a permanent part of Realcomm.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Love to.
Thank
you guys are great.
So much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.